We'll start with the Swans. They were embarrassed and they've had a dreadful fortnight. We'll make them the boardroom agenda for round 12 on Access, Lloyd. But the loss to Melbourne was bad enough, but the 90-point drubbing by the Crows, there are really big signs now that this club is not on the right track.
Yeah, 2 grand finals in the last 3 years, and you just come to respect Sydney because you always know they're going to be thereabouts, and they're so consistent normally, but they're that far from it right now, and concerns everywhere for them.
We'll get to the post-match and the fallout from it, and we'll lead it into the Tom Harley discussion around this club at the moment, Lord. Wayne Miller, a Adelaide Crows player, very candid interview with ABC post-match, made a damning assessment, but I think the comments made by the coach, Dean Cox, of the Swans were actually even more damning. Take a listen.
As a group, we were all over them in the first half, and they were sort of a bit of a rabble just hearing from them on ground. So
it was unacceptable and embarrassing.
So when you use those words, Lordo, unacceptable and embarrassing, where do you go next if there's another bad loss? Because there's not many more stronger words you can use as a coach in your 12th game of footy.
Yeah, and he left out Ollie Florent, so there was a statement made for a key senior player who played over 130 games in a row, and that he went out. But still, you can see early on they've conceded 10 goals in a row, so there's just no resistance. So for me, you can have key forwards out and players out like small forwards in Papley and Joel Amati, but your defence should still stand up, and that's the biggest concern that I have for them, is they're just so easy to get through and they're so easy to score against, and that's never been the case for the Sydney Swans. And I'm looking at Dean Cox, and I can see, I know he's been in the system a long time, but he is really struggling in the coach's box, and you see how animated he's getting and how stressed and uptight he's getting, and it's like the players are playing like that as well.
We'll take this conversation into the boardroom now because Tom Harley is a focus of it. Just on Tom Harley, he received a phone call from the CEO of the Adelaide Crows, Tim Silvers, who felt the need to apologise on behalf of the Crows for that word, rabble, that Wayne Miller used. I've got no idea what Tim Silvers is doing. I think it's unnecessary, and I think making the media aware of it, as they clearly did, was also unnecessary. It's okay. It was in context to the conversation he was having on ABC radio, and I don't feel there was anything lost or any malice in the use of the word. And Dean Cox's words were more damning. I
can understand it. I know a lot of people agree with you, Damo, on they didn't feel they need to do it, but the last thing, Adelaide, I think, we belted them. Teams have long memories. We may as well just smooth this over before we play them next time. But what was interesting, he said they were a rabble out there. So I just wonder what he was hearing, Wayne Miller, out there arguing, bickering, players not on the same page, which alarm bells rang for me here.
You're going to look at one of the big name players on the Swans in a moment, but before we do, Tom Harley is the focus here of AFL headquarters, a head-hunting search, Lordo. He's alongside Simon Garlick and Amit Baines as the main contenders for the 2IC role that Andrew Dillon wants to fill quite urgently. And look, he has been a man of such reassurance for the Swans in his time as CEO. With Dean Cox just 12 matches into his career, this is a vision from the weekend just gone where they were celebrating the 20-year anniversary of their famous 2005 premiership. And here we are right now, after this bad loss from Dean Cox, that man, Tom Harley, who has held this club together and shaped it, could well be off to the AFL.
Yeah, the last thing you want is too much change at the one time, and they've been such a stable club, but to lose John Longmire with such great experience and then to lose your CEO, that would be a big loss and not what Dean Cox needs right now.
Yep. Let's focus on the Swans again with the Crypto.com bold call. The lack of a star power forward, Lord. Look, historically they've gone down the path of getting big names in this space. Tony Lockett, Barry Hall, Buddy Franklin, Kurt Tippett. I feel they need to do that again, and whether it's Jamara Ugle-Hagan or even Charlie Curnow. Now, Jamara Ugle-Hagan is going to be far easily more gettable than Charlie Curnow, but I believe there's a conversation to be had with Graham Wright, the incoming CEO of the Blues, to just put a proper deal to him along those lines, him or Mackay.
And you think they'd be open to that?
I believe they'll be open to a conversation. Now, Tom de Koning, there's not going to say this at the Blues, but they don't have confidence that he will stay. But I believe that the contracts that some of those bigger name players are on at the Blues will be something that Graham Wright will be looking at. He did it at Collingwood. He shed their list of many names and numbers. I think it's going to happen again at the Blues.
Yeah, can't lose Curnow if you lose to Koning as well. Chad Warner, I was disappointed with him in this game against the Adelaide Crows because he had 19 touches, 3 behinds, and he's the least of their problems. I just want to, he's a star, and you want him to play like a star, and he was bouncing when he didn't need to bounce. He was trying to do too much. He was hacking the ball. So I see the test of a true champion as when things aren't going well, how you stand up, and I haven't quite seen it from Chad in this difficult period. So he and Heaney have had some good games, but moments like that where he's just hacking it forward under pressure. He looked frustrated, he looked annoyed, And this is where you need your true leaders to stand up in this difficult time.